Malachi's malevolence. I never thought a routine checkup could turn into a nightmare, but that's exactly what happened when I walked into Dr. Malachi's ominous clinic. The reception area was eerily quiet, and the flickering fluorescent lights cast unsettling shadows on the faded wallpaper. With a gaunt expression, the receptionist handed me a clipboard with forms that seemed older than time itself. As I filled out the paperwork, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was watching me. The air in the waiting room was thick with an unnatural stillness, and the only sound was the low hum of the flickering lights. When my name was finally called, I hesitated momentarily before reluctantly making my way to the examination room. Dr. Malachi was a tall, thin figure with a white lab coat that seemed too large for his skeletal frame. His eyes were concealed by dark, round glasses that reflected an eerie glow. He spoke in a low, monotonous voice that sent shivers down my spine. As he examined me, his cold hands seemed to drain the warmth from my body. The examination room itself was like a scene from a horror movie. Rusty medical instruments were scattered on a metal tray, and the walls were stained with an unknown substance that looked like dried blood. The air was thick with the scent of antiseptic, but underneath it lingered a nauseating odour that made my stomach churn. As Dr. Malachi probed further into my medical history, he asked unsettling questions that had nothing to do with my current ailment. He inquired about my deepest fears, anxieties and nightmares, all while maintaining a chilling smile that never reached his dead eyes. I began to feel trapped, as if I had stumbled into a realm where the boundary between sanity and madness was paper thin. After what felt like an eternity, he prescribed a concoction of mysterious medications that he claimed would cure my ailment. The pills were an unnatural shade of crimson, and the mere sight of them sent a wave of dread through my entire being. As I left the clinic, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had become entangled in something far more sinister than a routine medical visit. Days passed, and the medication only intensified my nightmares. I dreamt of the hospital transforming into a twisted labyrinth of corridors where the walls oozed with malevolence. Dr. Malachi's face haunted my every thought, his sinister laughter echoing in the recesses of my mind. Desperate for answers, I returned to the clinic, only to find it deserted. The reception area was now engulfed in an oppressive darkness, and the flickering lights had been replaced by a sickly green glow. The examination rooms were empty, devoid of any trace of the sinister doctor. I fled from that accursed place, vowing never to speak of the horrors I had witnessed within those walls. But the nightmares persist, and I can't shake the feeling that Dr. Malachi's influence lingers, like a malevolent spectre, haunting the recesses of my mind.
The Cursed Ward. The first time I entered the foreboding halls of St. Mercy Hospital, a shiver ran down my spine, a premonition of the horrors that awaited me. The sterile scent of antiseptic did little to mask the underlying stench of decay that seemed to cling to every corner. The receptionist, with hollow eyes and a voice barely audible, directed me to Ward 13, an area I hadn't noticed before. The moment I stepped into the dimly lit ward, a heavy silence enveloped me. The flickering overhead lights cast eerie shadows that danced along the peeling wallpaper. The air felt dense, as if laden with the weight of countless whispered secrets. It was then that I met Dr. Seraphim, a figure draped in a tattered white coat, his face obscured by a surgical mask that seemed permanently stained. He spoke in hushed tones, revealing a macabre fascination with the paranormal. His office walls were adorned with unsettling sketches of otherworldly creatures and diagrams of forbidden rituals. As he examined me, his cold hands left a chilling imprint on my skin, and I couldn't shake the feeling that his touch extended beyond the physical. The patients in Ward 13 were a peculiar assembly of lost souls. Their vacant stares seemed to reflect the horrors they had witnessed within the hospital's cursed walls. Unsettling whispers echoed through the corridors at night, and I often caught glimpses of shadowy figures that disappeared the moment I turned to look. The hospital itself seemed to come alive after dark. Strange sounds emanated from empty rooms, and the flickering lights took on a malevolent cadence. I began to question my sanity as the boundary between reality and nightmare blurred. One fateful night, unable to sleep, I ventured into the hospital's forgotten basement. The air became colder with each step, and the feeble light of my flashlight revealed ancient surgical tools scattered on rusty trays. In the darkest corner, I found a collection of old patient records, each one detailing the tragic demise of those who had passed through Ward 13. As I delved deeper, I uncovered the hospital's dark history, a tale of forbidden experiments and a pact made with something far beyond the realm of the living. Dr. Seraphim, it seemed, was merely a vessel for a malevolent force that fed on the suffering of those trapped within the cursed ward. Terrified, I tried to escape, but the hospital seemed to conspire against me. The walls shifted, trapping me in an endless labyrinth of hallways that distorted reality. Whispers grew into anguished screams, and the flickering lights pulsed with otherworldly energy. I awoke in my bed, drenched in cold sweat, wondering if the horrors I experienced were a twisted dream, or a reality too ghastly to comprehend. St. Mercy Hospital stood silent in the moonlight, its ominous facade concealing the cursed ward and the evil force that lurked within, hungry for the next unsuspecting victim. The Whispering Asylum. From the moment I stepped through the rusted gates of Blackhaven Asylum, an unsettling feeling clung to me like a shadow. The air was thick with a palpable sense of despair, and the imposing Victorian architecture loomed over me like a silent sentinel guarding dark secrets. Dr. Eldritch, the head psychiatrist, welcomed me with a disconcerting smile that sent shivers down my spine. His office, adorned with archaic psychiatric diagrams and unsettling paintings, seemed like a portal to a realm where the boundaries of sanity were fluid. As he delved into my past, his piercing gaze made me feel exposed, as if he could unravel the darkest recesses of my mind with a mere glance. The Asylum's corridors were a labyrinth of echoing whispers and flickering lights that cast long, haunting shadows. Patients lost in the grip of their tormented minds shuffled through the dimly lit hallways, their vacant stares reflecting the horrors they had witnessed within Blackhaven's walls. Nightfall brought an uncanny stillness that settled over the asylum, like a suffocating fog. Strange sounds echoed through the empty halls, and the flickering lights danced to an otherworldly melody. Sleep became a battleground as unsettling dreams blurred the line between reality and nightmare. One by one, the patients succumbed to the asylum's malevolent influence. I stumbled upon forgotten records revealing a history of bizarre experiments and arcane rituals conducted in the bowels of Blackhaven. Dr. Eldritch, it seemed, was more puppeteer than a healer, orchestrating a symphony of madness that echoed through the asylum's tortured souls. Desperate to escape the asylum's clutches, I navigated the labyrinthine corridors, guided only by the distant echoes of tortured whispers. The boundary between sanity and insanity blurred, and the asylum itself seemed to resist my every attempt to break free. In the final confrontation with Dr. Eldritch, the air crackled with supernatural energy. His malevolent laughter echoed through the asylum as he revelled in the chaos he had unleashed. It became clear that Blackhaven was not just a facility for the mentally ill, it was a gateway to a realm where the boundaries of reality were twisted and contorted. As I fled the asylum's suffocating embrace, I couldn't shake the feeling that the whispers lingered, carried by the wind that swept through the decaying halls. Blackhaven Asylum stood as a malevolent monument, its secrets buried in the tortured souls of those who had crossed its threshold, forever condemned to the haunting echoes of the Whispering Asylum.
Dr. Nightshade. Subscribe.